Hi guys, it's Rick here again from LearnTVProduction.com. I've got some great photography tips today on how to control a shallow depth of field and turn it from a problem into a great technique for taking creative photographs. If you've ever taken a picture of someone and found their hands are in perfect focus but their face is blurry, then you know what shallow depth of field is, even if you never knew what to call it. With a simple point and shoot camera, you don't have much control, if any control over it. But with, say, an Olympus or a Canon DSLR camera, you can turn it into a feature of your photography repertoire. When you take a picture through a lens, in theory, only one point is in focus. In practical terms, a certain distance in front and behind that point is also an acceptable focus. Now that distance is called the depth of field. It really means that in front of, behind, and around the subject of your picture, everything is in focus, but further behind or in front, things are not. Normally, the further away from your camera the subject is, the greater the depth of field. So when taking landscapes or buildings, you may not notice it. But when you move in to take a close-up of a face or a flower, you may find things around it come out blurry if you haven't focused carefully on your subject, and then you won't get a good picture at all. The other thing that affects the depth of field is the lens aperture. This is the size of the opening for light created by the diaphragm inside the camera. Photographers call the different settings the f-stop. If you look at your DSLR camera aperture settings, you'll see numbers like f2.8, f5.6, f11, or f22. The smaller the number, the bigger the opening in the diaphragm, and the smaller the depth of field will be. It's pretty easy to remember. Smaller aperture number equals smaller depth of field. When your DSLR camera is set for auto and the light levels are low, it will choose a smaller aperture number to let in more light. So the shutter speed can be high enough to prevent blurring. This can cause problems for you though with close-ups in low light, or in higher light give your picture a deep depth of field when a shallow one could be visually more exciting. So to control depth of field, you use the Aperture Priority mode setting on your DSLR camera. Canon calls it AV, while Olympus and other cameras just call it A. Now you can choose the f-stop, and the camera will automatically set the shutter speed to give you the correct exposure. By choosing a smaller aperture number, you can put a shallow depth of field into a portrait, making the face stand out more, or a person walking down the street show against a blurry background. For close-up photography, choose a larger aperture number and a greater depth of field to get as much as possible of your subject and surroundings in focus. The only problem you may encounter is blurring from the result of the slow shutter speed, which is when a tripod can really come in handy. If you have live view capability on your DSLR camera, you can see how the final picture will look by pressing the DOF preview button. The LCD screen shows the final depth of field of your picture. Try some different f-stop settings for the same picture, and you'll see how the shallow depth of field can give you better pictures and creative professional photographs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've played around with depth of field, and do you like that look, that appearance of having background in or out of focus. It's not for everyone, but it is a great creative tool to have. Also guys, please subscribe to my channel and you'll be guaranteed to be notified when I put out another one of these video tips. And by all means, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Thanks for watching guys.